Welcome to the Rise Above Show, presented by RoofCon. My name is Diego Dante, and I'm thrilled to bring you inspiring conversations with some of the most innovative and bright minds in our industry. From business and entrepreneurship to personal development and growth, we'll explore the strategies, insights, and stories that have helped our guests rise above challenges, overcome adversity, and achieve their goals. So sit back, relax, and join us on this journey of empowerment, inspiration, and discovery. This is the Rise Above Show. Welcome to the Rise Above Show, presented by RoofCon. My name is Diego Dante. I am coming out of Greenville, South Carolina today, repping the OG roofing community hoodies. We've had these since 2020. We haven't had these out for a while, but I wanted to wear the OG one today, so it's
bringing it back.
Yeah, my gym hoodie is what it is. So, and speaking of gym, I feel like we've got the right guys here. They're sitting on a gym bench. I mean, I think they were just lifting like 10 seconds before we started recording. So, guys, introduce yourselves and who you guys are with, what you guys do.
Yeah, man. Go ahead.
Yeah. So my name is Kevin Broderick. I'm a third-generation contractor. I've been in the roofing industry exclusively probably for about the last 12 to 15 years. I've owned multiple roofing companies over my time in the industry. I've also been an insurance adjuster since about 2016 or so. Been on many insurance deployments. So I've kind of played, let's say, double agent on both sides of the industry.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I'm Jeff Christian. Own a couple of roofing companies, very successful, and just like Kev, man, top producing sales guy pretty much wherever I've gone, and dropped out of the roofing industry for a number of years to go compete as a pro bodybuilder in the IFBB, won the universe, and then got my life straightened out with the Lord in 2019. And, dude, got to tell you, that lifestyle had to stop. My wife's a pro figure competitor in the IFBB. We both retired, and I've lost about 100 pounds now. So It's really weird when I see myself now. But man, you know, we got back into the roofing industry in sales, didn't want to own my own.
Yeah. Funny story about that, too, is that how I met Jeff was that I went to go buy cougar paws he was selling about a year before we started working together.
Yeah.
Right? That's when we first met. And then we happened to have a mutual friend who I was looking for someone to team up with, a partner with, you know, doing the roofing industry. And she was like, "Hey, I know this guy, Jeff." And I'm like, and she was telling me about him. I'm like, I think I know that guy. I think I bought cougar balls from that guy like a year ago.
Yeah.
You know, and it just so happened that it was Jeff, and we've been rock and rolling ever since.
Yeah,
you know?
man. Yeah, pretty crazy though. When I met Kev, I was standing in my garage, 300 and something pounds, and and loaded out on steroids, unfortunately. But that's the reality. And I'm really glad we actually didn't start working then, because at that point I was still pretty rough around the edges, man. So very, very happy to have partnered up with Kevin. We got going again, and man, just started blowing it out in the Atlanta area. Super cool stuff, really. And
moved up to Tennessee area, doing a lot of work in Tennessee as well.
Yeah, so really all over the Southeast. And so we've been
Alabama.
Pumping work out North Carolina and South Carolina. Yeah. So, really been going pretty strong. But, we came to the point where we were like, and we were driving to North Carolina to do a hotel up there. And I told Kev, I was like, I said, I'm making money and making a lot of money, and that's awesome. And so are you. Yeah. But my passion is not just to make money, man. I used to travel and speak. I was actually a pastor for 20 years, and had a daughter that was born with a rare genetic disorder, and took care of her till she died. And then went back into bodybuilding. And after she died, man, I became angry and bitter at God, and went back into my old lifestyle, and man, just became not a good dude, right? And and that's why I said when I got right with the Lord in 2019, all that stuff had to go. But just a phenomenal thing that we were like, hey, man, we've got to do something else. And my background was speaking and all of that stuff and training and all that. We decided it was time to put into practice or put into play what we do best, and that's training people and helping people.
Yeah, and that's always been my favorite part of it too. I always like taking people, guys or girls, that let's say they were making, 20 grand, the previous year, right? And then we teach them, we train them, we get them up to speed on everything in the roofing industry, and it changes their lives, right? Yeah. The first year that they're in the industry, they make 150, and the year before, like I said, they're making 20 or 30,000, living in a studio apartment, or like a long-term stay hotel. And now they're buying their own houses, they're buying trucks, they're buying vehicles, right? They have them and their family are going on vacations, right? And that was always the most rewarding part of it. Was actual training, getting these people up to speed, giving them basically a new life almost, And so we said, how do we just do that all the time?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then honestly, man, we just started in helping roofing owners. They saw how we were blowing it up, and we ended up spending more time helping other people than we did ourselves. And that's just been the most rewarding thing. And so what we've done is we started Trades Pro Training, where we actually teach roofing owners how they can find, train, and retain top sales killers, and do it within just a couple of weeks, man. And that's our thing, is we can take a guy from flipping burgers to being profitable in your company in 2 weeks. And it's fantastic.
And that's also because it's not just for you as a business owner, it's also for them, because they have to become profitable as usually they're 1099 sales guys, right? Or commission only sales guys. So they have to start making money quick or else they're gone, right? And then you just wasted all that time and effort and energy that you put into them for the past however long it is, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, more. And then they're gone because they're not getting paychecks. So the part of the training isn't just, so be profitable for the roofing company. It's also going to be profitable for the actual salesperson themselves,
There's a lot of people that, I think you guys fall into this category. I fall into this category, where we start out in roofing and then roofing kind of segues us out into something else that we become really, really passionate about. And, for me, it was the same thing. Like, I got into roofing. I wanted to make some money. I sold quite a bit in roofing, discovered that I had a passion for events. We started throwing RoofCon, and then kind of the rest is history, where I've got roofing in my back pocket. I know I can go back to it at any time, but I'm like, I want to ride this wave, because for now, this is the thing that I'm passionate about. And this is the thing that really, truly brings me fulfillment in being able to host these events, because events are, I think you can do a lot through social media and stuff like that, but there's just something about the in-person events that can just be really transformational and life-changing. And so for me, that's a huge part of it. And so I'm sure for you guys too, you guys, it's like, hey, you get into roofing, great. This is a great way to make money and all this stuff, but your heart leads you into training and coaching and helping other guys. And it's like, hey, I can go back to roofing anytime, but I'm going to ride this wave to be able to help people out as much as I can while I can.
Yeah, one of the things that really makes us different, and this is the one thing that we say all the time, is we walk what we talk. We're not just guys behind a camera teaching somebody how to do something on a green screen. Dude, we actually go out in the field and we work with contractors, roofing guys all the time.
Yeah, we love it.
And we love it, man. We go in, we teach their sales team. We go out in the field with them. We go in and revolutionize their company by, getting their SEO and all of that back end stuff in order. We help them in so many areas. And my passion is, what I call light commercial, man. We teach them how to sell big fish. And, right now, I think we've got 14 total,
or 15 hotels.
14 or 15 hotels going. And we teach them how to do that. We love that kind of thing, man.
It's so great going to a company that maybe, is struggling a little bit to get over, kind of like, let's say under 3 million in sales, right? Kind of those kind of companies are trying to struggle to get next level. We can come in and we can try to help them, get their costs down on their material, their labor, basically. And we actually go out with them, like I said, in the field, like Jeff was saying, we actually go and sell with them, right? Yeah. We actually try to go and we basically give them the sales, right? We're not just sitting there just taking the sales. We love to go out there with them and sell. And my father, he was a recovered alcoholic, and he was in the program a long time, and he helped a lot of other guys that were struggling with those type of issues. And one thing he had always told me was that, even if you're not all the way to the top of the ladder, even if you're a couple steps up, you can always reach down and help the guy that's below you, at least, get going, right? Get on the first 2 steps, and just being able to do that again is what, God's kind of put in my heart to do, is what fulfills me. Like you were talking about, Diego, as far as, roofing was great. And I know I can always go back to knocking doors, man. I can always make money knocking doors, right? We all can, right? But there was something else, that I just felt was also for both of us, not just myself, the next step.
Yeah. What's your passion? What are you passionate about? And we're passionate about people, man. We want to see people succeed, not just in finances, because here's one of our things that we say all the time. We're not about building wealth. We're about building people. And if you build people, people will help you build wealth, but it's all controlled by God anyway. Yeah. Man, this is, as far as we're concerned, you're in a closed system and it's all controlled by God. And if we honor him, then, man, we can get out there and glorify him and help guys out there and just, dude, seriously, just be a help to people. And that's what we love to do, man. We love to be a help to people. And that's our passion.
RoofCon is definitely the best conference I've ever attended, and I've been to several. We go to several every single year.
I bought the tickets. I said, we're going.
This year they broke 5,000 tickets, so it's growing bigger and bigger every single year.
If you're not here, I don't know where you're at.
Definitely coming back 2024. See you then.
RoofCon, the #1 conference for the roofing and solar community, is coming back to Orlando, October 23rd through 25th, 2024. Get your tickets today at roofcon.com.
Well, let's be a help to people. Let's say, if someone finds this and they're just getting into roofing, let's give them a few tips so that we can get them up off the ground and maybe help them get a few of their first sales here. So if you're getting into the roofing industry, you've never been, you don't know anything about roofing. I know so many people that just come in and they're like, oh, they just see a great opportunity. They get in. Companies, a lot of the times, I'm not saying that this is a good thing, but this happens a lot. Companies won't give them a lot of training. They'll basically give them a ladder and just say, here you go, have at it, go find it. So what do you recommend to that person coming in that truly has no idea what they're doing? Where do you even
start?
That's
a softball.
Yeah.
That's a softball, man. Kev, go ahead.
Well, no. So again,
That's awesome.
We start like in our training platform, right? We start at the foundations, right? And again, we'll kind of touch back on more of if you don't have the training as well. But so if you do have the training, one thing that we found out is that most of the other trainers, or a lot of times are even in the company, right? So even the sales trainers in the company start at the door, right? They give them cards, like you said, give them a ladder, slap them on the behind, and tell them to go hit some doors. Yep. And that's really step 5. First, you really got to train on the foundation of the industry, right? Like the roof types, right? Also the parts of the roof, right? What are the hip, ridge, gable, right? Everything, right? Rake. A lot of these people don't have any idea what they're trying to sell. So then when they go to the door, or when they're in front of a customer, they're not confident enough to sell anything. Right? Because they don't know what they're talking about. So that's one thing that we really focused on, is really building a proper foundation of information. So then they can build off all those other steps, off of that. Now, someone who's just getting into the industry, again, it's, one of the biggest things is finding some type of training, right? If you have absolutely no idea about the roofing industry, but let's just say they have no training whatsoever, right? And they just know that they have to make money as soon as possible. My thing was always basically the law of averages, right? The more people you talk to, the more doors you hit, right? The more opportunity you're going to create. And even if you're not confident in what you're trying to do or sell, and I would say if you can't get the proper training, right? If you don't come on with us, or if your company that you're working for doesn't have a training system like ours, my thing would just try to be hitting the ground as hard and as fast as possible to get you up to speed.
One thing, because go ahead.
No, well, we were going to say what we've run into. Because we're all over helping people, all over. Yeah. And one of the things that we find is owners really don't have any sort of comprehensive training, just like Kevin was saying.
Yeah.
And so what they're doing is they're investing in guys, giving them shirts, hats, business cards, all this stuff. They're investing money in somebody that really should just be a prospect at this point. And they're sending them out or they're sending them out with somebody that, hey, we want you to help train this guy. Well, this guy's not been trained properly. And so they're propagating a sales force that is not trained in any sort of systematic way. And so what we endeavored to do was to start at the basics, teach them even how to climb, set a ladder according to OSHA standards, teach them how to be safe on the roof, how to get up, how to get off.
Well, how to use like a goat, a pitch hopper, ridge pro, things that are common in the industry, right?
So,
tools.
And then we teach them all the way to door knocking, closing, all of that stuff. We teach them all of that. But if you're a business owner out there, one of the biggest things that we say is find a mentor in the industry, somebody that's doing it, and somebody that you can get up underneath their coattails and you can learn from them as well, because you're going to need somebody. And that's what we endeavor to do, is to mentor guys that are in the industry. We want to mentor those guys. We want to help them. We want to come alongside them and be a good influence with them.
And we're not saying that we're perfect, right? But now they can learn from our mistakes, right? Because we've already learned. We've fallen. We smashed our face on the ground, but we're able to pick ourselves up, learn from that, and keep moving. But now we can help other guys kind of skip all that, right? And get to the point to where, now again, everyone's going to have their own pitfalls, but we can help them basically, speed up their process.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I gathered from what you're saying is like, hey, you have to become knowledgeable in what you're teaching. You can't go out and, and explain this to a client if you don't understand the way that a roofing system works in general. I think that that's a huge thing. And that's one of these things that, like, if you're starting out, you don't have the means to get into, trainings and that type of stuff. Like, that type of stuff's on the internet. Like, go out, become a sponge and just take in as much information as possible, because you don't want to be the guy that just comes in and is just trying to get a signature and doesn't understand what the heck, you're trying to sell. Because and frankly, I've been that. Like, I was that when I started out, because I was just so hungry to go out and get signatures. And for me, it was like, you tell me I got to go get signatures, I'll go get you signatures. And I was hungry and I made it happen. But what I learned as I continued to, develop in my journey in selling roofs was like, okay, I have to be a teacher. Like, I don't buy things that I don't understand. And so like, for me, it was like, okay, how do I soak in as much as possible, so that way when I'm talking to the client, it's all in my head. I know exactly what's happening. And one of the biggest things that I learned with teaching new reps when I ran a roofing company was having the reps be at the day of the install, being there from the second that the installers got there, so that they understood everything about, putting a tarp over flowers and protecting this and that, and then like how the tear off happens, and and then like you find where the leak was happening, and then okay, now we got to replace the decking here, and then we got to put in ice and water shield, and then we got to put in the underlay, and like everything else, like understanding the entire process. I swear doing that 3 times will teach you more than looking at stuff on the internet of of how it's supposed to work. Actually getting your hands dirty and actually seeing the way that it's being installed is a huge thing that I think a lot of people aren't doing.
Yeah, and that's what we try to do also in our platform. We try to do a lot of real world scenarios, right? So we're actually on an install day showing everything going on, showing the tear off, covering all of the landscaping, to break all that down. Now, again, what we say is you learn it on the platform, but then you go out in the real world and actually see it done in real life. But, a lot of our stuff, like I said, isn't just behind like a green screen. We felt like if I was going to train someone in our business, right, then that needs to be the same way we train people online as well, right? Is that actually like I'm up on a roof marking things off like as a just as an adjuster would, right? I'm teaching them how to think like an adjuster so they can better battle the insurance company. And so I have them mark everything out a certain way. I show them basically each elevation, each slope, and we go around and we show all the damage, mark all the damage, and that's actually on a real property that we were doing work on, right? So it isn't just theory stuff. It's actually real world out in the field, boots on the ground, you know.
And the one thing that we've set up this system to do, and we've seen it over and over and over with companies, is we set up this process to where we help them find people, bring them through the onboarding process. And then when we start to train them, we have a specific amount of time that they train in the platform. And then after a certain amount of time on the platform, then they come in half days and train in the platform. And then the other half of the day, they're training out in the field. And so it's a great mixture of what I'm learning and then what I'm actually practicing out in the field. So it's a wonderful combination. And that's the way we set it up, because we agree with you. We don't think the best way to learn something is on the internet watching something, because you'll only get so far with that. But you will get a great basic knowledge. And the way we have it set up is you actually take testing at the end of every one of these videos, a short, quick quiz on it. So that way you start retaining things, and then you're able to get out in the field and you're able to actually put into practice what you're learning.
RoofCon is definitely the best conference I've ever attended, and I've been to several. We go to several every single year.
I bought the tickets. I said, we're going.
This year they broke 5,000 tickets, so it's growing bigger and bigger every single year.
If you're not here, I don't know where you're at.
Definitely coming back 2024. See you then.
RoofCon, the #1 conference for the roofing and solar community, is coming back to Orlando October 23rd through 25th, 2024. Get your tickets today at roofcon.com.
Also on YouTube, there's like, you'll get 20 different versions of how to do something.
Yeah.
And it's almost, paralysis by analysis. Like, who do I listen to, right? There's so many different ways that people do things, and there's a lot of people who don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, it's even worse if you get into the comment sections, because even the ones that you're like, oh, that's the right way to do it, everyone in the comments is like, oh, no, you did that wrong.
Well, and see, that's why we did this, because now think about this. If you're a business owner, if you're a roofing company owner, and now you've been training your first generation of guys this way, you now have your killers out here in the field that have been trained up. You bring in your second crop of people. Now you've got these people mentoring these guys, and you just keep propagating this system all the way through your company. And before you know it, your entire sales force has been systematically and comprehensively trained, and you're able to hold them accountable, because that's the way we set this up, is you can actually hold them accountable. You can see what they're doing. And now we've got guys and girls that are out there, and they've all established a culture of what we call intentionality, because they've all been trained the same exact way, and they're out there and they're all doing it. So they can all speak together in a team culture, because they've all been trained together. And it's not, oh, I got trained by this, or I watched this, or I was just given,
I found something on YouTube, you know, and they said to do this, you know, and which, again, a lot of these guys, like I said, a lot of these kind of armchair roofers, they're doing, I don't know, 40 roofs a year or something, right? And which in the roofing industry isn't a lot, you know what I'm saying? And they're trying to be the point of authority to try to teach these people, what about the roofing industry. And, a lot of times these guys are giving them horrible advice, and so that's why it's always best to try to find a place where you can get all the proper information. And that's what we try to do, is kind of try to be like an encyclopedia of the re-roof kind of storm work. We also have retail on their industry.
I do think it's important.
Hey, the other day we're on a 7-story building and we're doing a video. Hey guys, here we are, and we're showing them, hey, we don't just walk it, or we don't just talk it, we walk it every day, because, we're real world roofers for the real world.
I think that's super important, because I think there's a lot of people in the industry who and not even in roofing in general, but just sales coaches in general who haven't
Yeah.
don't have the real world experience, and yeah, they might have other experience that might make sense, and they might know what they're talking about, but it's so much different when the person that's teaching you has the resume to back it up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes a difference. Yeah, you know, we know a decent amount of people now in the industry, and you know, we'll be like, oh, you know, when'd you sell last? Be like 10 years ago, and it's like, how are you training people on something you don't do? You know, in my head, I don't say that to them personally, but you know, it's like one of those things where you think about. It's like, you know, and especially the industry changes so rapidly. You know, and so how do you stay up on, you know, trends other than, I mean, you just seeing someone else talk about it, you know, if you're not out there actually boots on the ground, working with adjusters, you know, fighting the insurance company, going to storms, like how are you staying on top of these things, right? To where you can then convey that proper knowledge to other roofing companies.
Hmm. What do you guys see for people that are new in the industry? You know, how has roofing changed your lives in general?
Big time. You want to go first?
Yeah. Well, I can tell you how it changed my life. I had just lost my daughter, lost my way of living, and man, I was actually suicidal. Jumped back into the gym, into my old lifestyle, but I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And had a guy came up to me, he was like, "Hey man, well, you want to go storm chasing?" And I needed a distraction at that time. You know, I'd my whole life had fallen apart. And dude, I went storm chasing and never looked back. And, you know, because it's, you know, I've been in other sales in my past growing up, and I'm an old man now. Right. So, but, this was something that I could do that actually helped people. Everybody's got to have a roof, man. You know, and so I could believe in what I was doing. I wasn't just trying to sell somebody a product that they didn't need. And that's super important for me. And when I got in, then I started making quality relationships, you know, started meeting people, and, you know, you start to have investment in people. And I seriously, I'm roofing hotels now, sometimes second and third time that I roofed 20, 25 years ago. Right. And so, you know, but all of these people, I still know them, and I've made quality friendships with them. I've buried some of them, and, you know, and so I've walked through some deep water. So for me, it's about the relationships and, you know, and the people that I've worked with, not just in customers, but some of the people that I've worked with. I've walked with some of them through some super deep waters in their life, and they've seen me walk through deep water. And so for me, it's about the relationships. And yeah, dude, we can make a lot of money. You know, honestly, I can get out there and sell. I still sell now, only to stay on top of my game. And, you know, like I said, we were on a 7-story hotel the other day, signed the contract.
Yeah.
You know,
three hotels in a day.
3 hotels in one day, dude. I mean, that's my thing. And churches, and I go to things where I can get to the decision maker. You know, we've done commercial where we have to go through the bid process, you know, the estimating and all that stuff, and go to all the meetings. And I mean, that stuff's great if that's what you're into. But I want to go where I get to the decision maker, and I can make this happen, and
Create a relationship,
and create those relationships. And like I said, dude, I've roofed hotels all over, you know, because of that reason. And whenever they have a problem, they call us, you know, 20 some odd years later. So
building those relationships.
That's how it's changed my life for sure.
Yeah, and pretty much same with me, and I'm sure a lot of other people's stories are going to be similar, you know, to the roofing industry. But I'm like I said, I was a 3rd generation contractor. My father got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and I was going to school for aerospace engineering originally, and you know, but they say construction's like the mafia, right? Once you're in, the only way out is in a casket. Yeah. You know, there's no getting out.
Yeah.
You know, and so, you know, we did different exteriors in Florida. My parents had a construction company in Florida, and it was, you know, roofing wasn't our main focus then, right? We were doing other things, other aspects, but we would do roofing from time to time. But my cousin and this is when I was, in my probably early 20s. My cousin was in Atlanta area, and he said, "Hey man, you got to come up here. You know the industry, you can sell it." And this was after, and my father had passed away, and then I said, "All right, man, I'm going to come up there, right?" Because I just wanted to get away from the life I lived, the area I was in, just kind of make a restart, right? And so came here to the Atlanta area, and I was actually with my brother. My brother had come up with me, and he could come up actually a couple weeks ahead of me. And so he had showed me like, hey, this is how we're going about it. This is when for those who don't know, the Atlas Chalet craze in the Atlanta area, which like it was a gold rush, here in this area. But he's like, hey, this is what we're looking for. He went with me to a couple doors, knocked a couple doors, and I was like, I got it, man. Go ahead and give me the flyers, give me the door knockers. I'm gone, right? And I sold my first roof that day, and it was like a 42 square roof, right? It was my first commission check from that. I made like $3,600, right, on my first roof, and I said, I'm done, man. I'm doing this the rest of my life,
That's awesome.
Yeah, and after that, I was just, I was hooked to the roofing industry. Now, my story is a little bit different than Jeff's, because Jeff is very good at those relationships with the owners. I mean, with the homeowners, right? And for me, I never had that connection with the homeowners, right? It was just never. They were always a means to the end, right? But for me, it was always my team, right? That's always who I had the connection with. Taking people who were struggling, teaching them a trade, getting them up, like I was talking about earlier, to where they made more money in their life than they ever made before, right? Kind of changing their lives. And that's really where my heart always was. Like, the customer was great, having that relationship with them, but like, Jeff would be like going to barbecues and stuff with them. And like, the moment that I was done with my customer, like, I would check in to make sure everything was good with the roof, or they had any referrals, but that was never the same for me as it was with Jeff. So that's why, like, for me, it was always my team. It was always the people around me that I can teach to then, get to that next level.
Yeah, I liked what you said, because I think, we run. I feel like I run my organization in a similar way, to where, for me, it's like we're a leadership company that just happens to run events, right? And Cornerstone, which we share a building here with Cornerstone Construction.
Hey, by the way, Cornerstone, I'm in Atlanta. There was a Cornerstone truck right on the corner over here. Who's in my town?
We're there.
Yeah, you got to talk to Hunter about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but Cornerstone's the same way. It's like, hey, Cornerstone is a personal development company that happens to put on roofs, right? And so I like that, that's the way that you're seeing it. Let me ask you this, Jeff. Let me ask you this on, you said you were big, obviously in bodybuilding, and you guys are. How do you see the importance of, because I'm sure you're still, obviously, you're not doing the bodybuilding thing anymore, but you still take your health, seriously. And so let me ask you this, like, how does staying fit and taking care of yourself help you with running a business and selling roofs?
Oh man. Well, yeah, that's easy. So my wife and I, we used to, when we were traveling and doing all of that stuff with in the IFBB, we were coaching guys really all over the country, all up in Canada and over in Europe. A lot of that we did over the internet, but we had what we called high profile clients out in California. We spent about half every month we spent out there training different people. But we had he is quietly one of the richest men in America. I obviously can't say his name because of confidentiality, but
it's Elon Musk.
When we met him, he was in pretty bad shape. What's that?
I said it's Elon Musk. Sorry, I'm spilling the beans.
Yeah, no, it's not Elon, but it's somebody that's got a lot of money. But when we met him, he was pretty out of shape, and he was trying to run this large company. And that's why he got in touch with us. And of course, you know, his idea was not to be a bodybuilder, which, look, as far as I'm concerned, bodybuilding is not a healthy sport. Anybody that knows anything about bodybuilding, especially professional bodybuilding or competitive bodybuilding, it's just not a healthy sport. I buried another friend of mine about 4 weeks ago. And, you know, for every pro that dies, there's probably 10 guys that die from steroids that you never hear about. And so, you know, so if you're running down that aisle, that alley, there's not a lot I can do for you other than just tell you guys, you know, you got to get off because you will end up at 58 years old like myself. And if you continue to go down that, you'll end up at 58. And, you know, I have some issues and things where I've got to have some surgeries coming up, and they're directly from the steroids, growth hormone, insulin, all of that stuff. But I will tell you this, if you can manage your diet well, and if you are out there really in the gym in the morning time before you get going, and this is what I say, find your sweet spot. Whatever it is that, whether it's in the morning or in the evening, wherever you can put in that time in the gym where you can get yourself focused on this one thing and allow your mind to rehab and rejuvenate in the morning with some physical activity, it's going to set you up for your outlook on the entire day. Now, if you're the guy that has to go in the evening, no problem. What I say is go after your last meal of the day and allow your body to keep churning through the night, right? Because that way, the next morning you get up, you're super, super hungry. Manage yourself as far as your caloric intake during the day. But how it helps you is, number one, you're going to have more energy, right? I mean, you're going to be able to manage your company, manage your business. You're not going to be that guy that's wanting to fall asleep at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, will you ever have downtimes? Of course you will. You're human, right? And life is not always exciting. But if you manage your diet, if you manage that physical output in the morning or in the evening, you're going to find yourself not so bad during the day. The other thing is properly supplement yourself, right? Get a good men's multivitamin. You don't have to take every vitamin separately. Find you a great multivitamin for men, and then that will get you very, very far. If you can, check with your doctor, but take a good creatine supplement before you work out. Go ahead, you know, that will actually help you build some muscle. But then I'm going to tell you what may sound like the opposite thing of what I've been saying. If you're a man over 40 years old, get to your doctor, find out if you have low T, because if you have, if you're 40 years old and, you know, you're having a problem peeing during the night, you know, you're starting to notice that type of thing. You're starting to notice other issues going on. Your prostate may be swelling. So you may be having symptoms of low testosterone that you don't realize really what's going on with your body, right? So you can have all these things, and get to your doctor, find out. And if he puts you on a testosterone replacement, that's awesome. You're going to feel so much better. I recommend I still have guys that come to me from all over the country, and they ask me, Jeff, what's the one thing over 40 I should do? I said, get to your doctor, find out get you a full blood panel, find out where you are in your testosterone. And then the most important thing you do as a man, sorry, Kev, is this. Kevin knows I get on this. Here's the one thing you should be doing, okay? Every 60 days, talk to your doctor, but every 60 days you should be giving blood as a man. You don't have a period, dude. Guys, you don't get to bleed every month, okay? The most important thing you can do is give blood every 60 days. Otherwise, by the time you're 40, 45, your heart's pumping pudding, and you don't want that. So as an owner, dude, you've got to be on top of your game, right? If you're going to get far, it's not just in your body, but mentally sharp too. And it is known that you're much more mentally sharp if you're physically sharp. And you can't be physically sharp if you're filling your body full of garbage all the time either.
Revolt to me is camaraderie.
Revolt is impact.
Revolt is a brotherhood.
Revolt is passionate.
Revolt is amazing.
Revolt is fulfillment.
strength in numbers.
Accomplishment and legacy to kind of tell my story.
Revolt is intentional.
Accountability.
Revolt is life-changing.
Life-changing.
Revolt is growth.
Revolt against average.
1, 2, 3, revolt!
Also the discipline aspect of it too, right?
Absolutely.
Just having that routine of getting there every morning, getting it done, getting after it. And then it kind of like Jeff was saying, set you up for the day, you know, as far as hitting those routines, right? Going out to those doors, talking to the team, getting them going, right? Making your phone calls, you know, getting on your emails, all the same thing, that routine, right? Everyday discipline helps you kind of churn to those days where, because like you said, sometimes it's just not exciting, right? So some days are definitely more exciting than others. So, you know, that routine, that discipline helps you churn through all those normal day-to-day things, you know?
And by the way, guys, if somebody truly wants any help, they can contact me. I mean, I still help guys all over the country. I'm not coaching anymore, and obviously, and I don't coach bodybuilders anymore. But if you need any help, I'm more than happy to help you. You know, help you set up diets, help you with your supplementation, any of that stuff.
One of the things that we instituted in my organization about a year ago now is we started doing where everyone has an hour allotted to them during work hours to work out. So they're literally getting paid to work out. So you have zero excuse for that. And we put in a pickleball court in the backyard. We have a little basketball goal. And so, you know, they'll go out sometimes and do that. I come in at 8 every morning, and my first hour is just, we have a gym in the office too. So we'll do, you know, I'll do the gym. And here the last, I don't know if you can see this, but I'm on day 27 right now of 75 hard. So working on that right now, just working through, because again, it's just like working out, following a diet, reading 10 pages a day, the stupid gallon of water that'll be the death of me. Just those
It gets better.
Just those things are just they sound hard when you're not in the routine, but really it just sets you up. It just sets your day up for success, right? And and so I agree. Yeah, it's not. I think some people definitely take it to the extreme. Some of the I'm not going to name drop them, but some of the other sales coaches of the world that you know, I don't necessarily think you need to have a six pack to succeed in sales per se, but I do think that taking care of yourself is like it's the leg up on your competition.
Yeah.
So
I can tell you this. It's I can promise you none of those other coaches have taken it as extreme as I have. And at the end of that road is some pretty bad stuff. So be healthy, man. That's the big thing.
That's the main thing. Yeah.
Be healthy, man. You know what? Because here's the thing. We all want to see our kids and our grandkids, and we're all working to leave a legacy. But if the only legacy you're leaving is money, you know, and that's not a great legacy. You know, leave a legacy of integrity, a legacy that you loved your family, your kids, you know, your grandkids enough to keep in shape, you know. And like I said, guys, if you need help, I'm more than happy to help you, man. I mean, I've helped thousands of people over the years. I mean, goodness gracious, you know, I've won the universe and at 51, you know, and you know, shoot, I'll still train with anybody. I don't care. Yeah. I'm not 320 pounds anymore, but I'll still train with anybody.
Yeah. And it's about creating those,
that's right.
You know, those positive habits too, as well. You know, it's getting rid of all the negative habits in your life, right? Like even for me, you know, I had stopped drinking, right? And I cut a bunch of stuff out of my life that was just a negative influence on my life, right? And just continuing to build more and more positive things in my life to where they build upon themselves, you know, and just basically create a life that is that nothing's holding me back, you know.
All right, so I asked Jeff a question about his previous life. Kevin, I'm going to pick on you for a minute before we finish up.
Yeah, no worries, man.
So
Yep.
You said you used to be an insurance adjuster. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So I feel like for a lot of people in the industry, the insurance adjuster is seen as the enemy, right? So what do you think?
Unless you're me.
So here's the question then is like, where do you think that there's maybe some misunderstandings there? Do you think that, I mean, is the insurance adjuster coming in really to help out? Like, what do you think is misunderstood about the insurance adjusters that maybe people in the industry don't know?
Well, also, and this is, I actually did a little video on this before too. Basically, there are different type of adjusters, in the industry, right? And so I'll break them down for you real quick. So a lot of times, you have your staff adjuster, right? Now your staff adjuster is paid a salary, right? Usually W-2 employee. And now if they are a new staff adjuster, right, they are usually horrible because they know nothing and now they have all this authority. So and also they're trying to impress their managers, right? They're trying to impress their higher ups. So they're like, oh, look, I'm going to shut this roofer down. I'm going to save the company money, and therefore they'll like me and they'll keep me, right? Now, the staff adjuster that has been there a long time, they know what they're doing, and usually they have no authority over them. So they're usually okay. The old-time staff adjusters, guys I've been in there for 15 years plus, a lot of times those staff adjusters are pretty cool, right? Because they've seen the industry, like the different trends in the industry come and go, and they know what's up, right? And a lot of times they're going to be a little more chill. Now, again, this is we're speaking generally, right? Because there's always going to be outliers, but and then you have basically your type of adjuster that is also like myself, right? Which is an independent adjuster who's paid on a fee schedule. Now, me being paid on a fee schedule typically means the bigger the claim is, the more money I make, right? A lot of times these guys are going to be, people that used to do roofing or people that used to do ladder assist very often, right? And those guys are usually your best friend. Every time I come up to like a house, I'm like, you're so lucky I'm here, right? Because I was, I come from the roofing industry. I'm here to help, and so, if damage is there, I make sure I write it up. Now the way the industry has gone though is I know a lot of guys in the roofing industry feel like a lot of the adjusters are, being dishonest when they tell them that it's not up to them, right? That they send it to the, basically to the desk adjuster and the desk adjuster makes their decision. Now sometimes they are being dishonest, but not all the time, right? So like for me, when I was an independent adjuster, I would write up these claims and I would send them into basically the desk adjuster or the audit team. And then they would send that out to the homeowner. And I would get calls from the homeowner saying, hey, you said that this would be approved, and they denied it. And I knew I wrote up a full scope for this house because it was legit damage. Even in, hurricane areas, tornado areas where, they have tons of wind or heavy hail areas. And I know that the damage is there and it was present. I even have the pictures of it, right? Now, I can only do so much because I'm working for this IA firm who basically pays my paycheck, so I can fight a little bit, right? Or I can let them do their thing and I just keep making my money as the adjuster. And again, because I really don't have a say at it. At that point, it's really out of my hands, even though I feel horrible for the homeowner because I know there's damage there, right? And I've even said when they've called me, I'm like, look, this is off the record, but you may want to get what's called a public adjuster to kind of fight on your behalf, And I know I'm going to be blackballed from the IA industry after this, right? But this is something. Sometimes I call them and I tell them that I say, hey, I wrote it up. You might need to get someone to fight on your behalf, So a lot of times, if you come across an IA, most of the time they're going to be pretty cool, right? But it's the back end that you got to worry about now, right? The audit teams, right? The desk adjuster, right? And they do that to separate it because they don't want me basically feeling sorry for Ms. Jones, who's an 80-year-old lady with half a roof ripped off, right? And so what they do is they compartmentalize me away from the decision making, and they do that on purpose. So then I don't have some type of emotional feeling to try to help this person. Right. And so they take the emotion out of it and make the desk adjuster do basically the dirty work. It's another reason why they took the power from most adjusters to pay the claim. Right. And also from the local agency. Right. So the insurance agents used to be able to, in the agency, there used to be an adjuster that actually was in there. Right. And that adjuster or that agent used to be able to write a check from the insurance company to that insured. Right. And so that's why they also took that away because Sally and Miss Jones goes to church on Sunday together, right? And there is a legit issue of fraud, but there's also an issue with this person trying to help out this person, and they want to separate all that emotion out of it, So you just got to know who you're coming up against. As a roofer, you got to, usually what I do is I tell my team to talk to them, ask them, hey, what do you do? Like, do you work for an IA? Are you a staff adjuster? So then they kind of know how to position themselves,
Yeah. Well, guys, I think we're coming up on the end of our time here, but we really appreciate y'all coming on, hopping on the show, and sharing all of your knowledge with the people that are
Appreciate
listening.
your time.
Yeah. So let me, I guess my last question for you guys is, if someone wants to connect with you guys, where do they go?
Oh, yeah. Best place to do it is just go to our website, www.tradesprotraining.com. Or they can find us on social media under the same thing. We're on everything. So
every platform under Trades Pro.
Yeah, under Trades Pro Training. Just go find us, man. I'd love to talk to you.
Get to know about your business. If any roofing company wants to come or just get on a Zoom call, talk about how we may be able to be of service to them.
Absolutely.
We'd love to talk to them.
And guys, we're one of the only people that are accessible. I mean, our people in our platform, they contact us all the time, and we actually call back. So we care, and we're available.
Which, if you're in roofing, that's a good skill to learn also, because that's what you're home with.
Returning calls.
So, guys, I appreciate it, and to anyone that's tuned in and watched and listened to the entire thing, we really appreciate it. If you're not yet registered to come to RoofCon, register to come to RoofCon. It's going to be in Orlando, Florida, October 23rd through the 25th of 2024 at the Orange County Convention Center. You can get your tickets today at roofcon.com. Let's say you want to come in, you want to listen to some great speakers. Great, you can purchase tickets and do that. Let's say you just want to come into the expo floor. It's completely free. You can come in for free. Get yourself a free expo ticket at roofcon.com. And last thing, if you're on Facebook and you haven't joined our Facebook group, it is the Roofing and Solar Community. We're at around 26,000 members right now, so make sure that you join that. With that, we're going to sign off, but we appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll catch y'all next time on the next episode of the Rise Above Show presented by RoofCon. Peace out.